Hey guys, Graham here from the recordingrevolution.com. I've got another Pro Tools video for you, kind of tagging the last Pro Tools video I did on YouTube where we pulled in a scratch track and we wanted to lock it to the grid, lock it to the tempo so that it's going to line up perfectly with the click track. Sometimes you get a scratch track or you lay down a scratch track and you don't actually know what tempo it is. And this was a question I was getting from some people is, okay, well, if you pull in an MP3 like I have here, how do you know what tempo it is so that you can set your click to that tempo and then, time compress and stretch the audio to fit that tempo if it's slightly off? And that's a great question. In Pro Tools, it's really, really easy. They have a feature called Identify Beat, and it really tells you everything you need to know. This is going to be really helpful if you're pulling in loops or things that don't have a tempo and you're not really sure what they are. What I have here is a scratch track, and I don't know the BPM. It's not written down. I'm building a session to record a guy, let's say, and he gives me this demo, and I need to know what tempo it is so I can set up a grid and put some markers in here. I don't know anything from playing it, all right? All right, so it's slow. Let me put a click track in here so you can hear it. Obviously, by default, if you look up here, Pro Tools defaults to a tempo of 120 BPM or beats per minute. And it's probably going to be a bit fast for this song. Yeah, right, it doesn't fit. So what we need to do is find from this audio, pull the tempo out of this audio, and then tell Pro Tools to be that tempo. So let me mute the click track for a second here. What we need to do is find a part of the song that we can count along what the beats are in our head, at least find some measures, okay? It's kind of a ballad, so this is a hard one in the beginning, but I think later on in the chorus, the tempo gets a little more defined.
Restoring us a fear of our great God. Return to us a love for all you are.
All right, so you can kind of get the feel of the quarter notes there.
Restoring us a fear of our great God.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Return.
So I can kind of find where the at least the bars are. Bar 1, bar 2. I can get a rough idea. This does not have to be exact, so don't overthink it. Here's what you do in Pro Tools. Zoom in till you find about where the downbeat is, okay?
Restore.
So the re is kind of the pickup, but when he gets to restore, that's the downbeat. So right there is a downbeat, all right? I'm going to press the letter B and break it. And again, if you're not in A to Z mode here, keyboard shortcut focus, you should be in that at all times. It gives you some much faster ways to work. So the letter B will break it. And what I want to do is find where that bar ends.
Restoring us a fear of our great God.
Right there where the chord changes. That's about a measure. Okay, so that means it has about 4 beats in it. Now what you can do is simply highlight that measure. Okay, and this is rough. But in Pro Tools, if you bring up the transport by pressing Command or Control 1, you want to make sure that you're in conductor mode. This little blue image, if you look closely, it's a guy holding up his batons. He's the conductor. By default, a lot of times Pro Tools has this conductor track on. What that means is you can have different tempos throughout your song. If you don't have that, then what we're about to do is not going to work because it won't let you change the tempo mid-song. So you want to keep that engaged. And all we're going to do is bring up the Identify Beat command. And it's up here in the event menu, Identify Beat, or Command or Control I. And don't overthink this. All we're going to do, it does not matter what beat this is, what the number is, because again, these bars are based off of a tempo that's irrelevant to us. What matters is that we tell Pro Tools that what we have selected is one measure. So sure, let's type in 24 for the heck of it. So our bar, let's say it starts at 24. Well, it's going to end at 25 exactly, okay? Now, I know it doesn't end there right now, but we're telling Pro Tools that this is supposed to be one whole measure, 24 to 25 even in a 4/4 time signature, because that's what I was hearing, that 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it? Click OK. Bam. What it does is writes a tempo change here right on the beat. And it says this measure is about 70.1931 beats per minute. Okay? So what that's telling me is that this tempo is probably around 70 beats per minute. Okay, now what we want to do is double check. So I'm going to find another measure. I'm going to keep going in the song here.
Return to
Return.
turn to us.
So right there is the end of another measure. So this selection should be a measure as well. Do Command I. And so this would be from bar 25 to 26, right? You know, give or take. Okay, so that measure they're saying is 71.7, so it's a little bit of a faster measure. And again, he may have played this to a click, or maybe he didn't, so he might have sped up or slowed down. And then what I'm going to do is just find the end of 4 whole measures.
Turn to us, love for all you are, and right on the.
So right there, basically, this whole selection should be about 4 whole measures. So what I could do is identify beat and say it's going to be bar 24 to 28. Doesn't matter what these numbers are as long as they are 4 measures worth. Bam. So that whole section averages out to just over 70 beats per minute. So that kind of confirms to me that this song is probably 70 BPM. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is simply undo all of this junk because I don't really want to cut up the song and I don't want those random BPMs. Instead, I just want to come over here, double click this little icon that says 120 and type in 70. Put in my grid mode so we can see in some eighth notes that we should be lining up here, right? Looks like we have 1 bar of nothing. It looks like he comes in a bar 2. This looks like it lines up. Let's just take a quick listen with a click track.
We've seen you in the fire, and we've scorned your great name.
All right, seems to work beautifully. And just to make sure that you're not slightly off, maybe it was a half dB difference, you want to move just farther on the song halfway or to the end and see if it's not started to drift.
And in our fear of you, Lord, we love you. And when we love you.
Yeah, that seems to be jamming just fine. So that song is 70 BPM, and that is how you pull out a tempo from a piece of audio in Pro Tools. I hope that helps you guys. You'll probably find it coming in handy more often than not once you know how to do it. Again, if you have any other questions or need some more in-depth Pro Tools training, head over to the blog, therecordingrevolution.com. There's some excellent resources there for you for Pro Tools training and mixing training in general. Thanks for checking this out. This is Graham from The Recording Revolution. We'll see you on the next video.